All right, so what we're gonna do now is we are gonna find the coordinates of these points. So coordinates can you read that? No, you cannot. Hold on, let me get a piece of paper to write this on so that you can read it a little better. Okay. Now that we have a piece of paper, I was going to write it on that, but you won't be able to read it on the video. So I'm gonna write coordinates. I want you to write this in your notebook for me. So coordinates tell us where exactly a place is on a map. They use latitude and longitude lines to show us. So when we write coordinates, we will write them latitude, degrees, longitude, degrees. So an example would be 90 degrees north, 22 degrees west. And we would put them in parentheses. So this is how I always want you to write them. So this is very important, okay? So you need to be sure that you know how to write them. We'll practice it a lot, but I want you to make sure that you know. So you need to practice this one. They always need to look like this. So let's do a few examples to help you understand what I mean. So if you need this, pause really quickly and copy it. All right, so now you've had time to pause and copy. Oh, my map is upside down. No, it's not, it was right. So let's practice. So to help us, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna label latitude and longitude. Which way does latitude go? If you said that latitude goes across the top, you were correct. So that means that longitude goes this way. Oh, you'll be able to read that. I'm gonna write longitude up here. So that you can read, okay? So I'm going to post this map that I have so that you can look at it to help you understand. If you have a way to print it out, you can print it out. If you'd like to trace it off of your computer, you can trace it. Whatever you want to do. You don't have to print it, you don't have to have it. This is just a good example to teach you how we're going to be using it, okay? This is sort of like in math class when you have to find coordinates on a grid. Maybe you've heard about that before, or maybe you'll learn about it sometime soon. So we are going to use the grid that's on this map to find all of these different stars. So let's start right here. Okay? I'm going to erase so we can write around it. We're going to start right here with this star. So how we're going to tell where this star is by looking at the lines. So the first line we see, if we follow it back, is 60 degrees north. So we know that its latitude is 60 degrees north. So its longitude, if we come down, it matches 90 degrees west. All right. So let's do one that's a little bit harder. Let's look at this star right here. It's not on a line. So we have to kind of guess. So we look and it's close to 0, but it's underneath 30. So I'm going to say that this one is maybe 15 degrees north. Now we don't know for sure if it's 15 degrees. That's okay. Sometimes we have to guess, and we have to do our best guess. There's nothing wrong with that. So, up and down, it's not on a line either. But the closest one is 90 degrees east and 0. So we know that it's probably higher than 90. Excuse me, we know it's probably lower than 90. I'm sorry, that was confusing. So we know that this one is probably, it's not quite in the middle, so I'm gonna say maybe 30 degrees east. So this one's a little bit trickier because we had to do a lot of guessing. We don't know exactly where this is because we only have a certain amount of lines. Usually, points will be on lines for you and it'll be easier. But sometimes they'll be out in the middle of nowhere. So we're gonna do one more together. And then I want you to do the next ones to practice, and I'll tell you the answers after you've practiced, okay? So this one is tricky. This one is on 0 degrees. This is the prime meridian. And this 0 is the equator. So since this is down here, this would be 0 degrees. Since this is down here, this would be, how many degrees on the bottom do you think? Probably 90. So 90 degrees south, and then 0 degrees because it's the prime meridian. All right, so I'm going to erase what I have here, and then you're going to try a few yourself, and we're going to do them together after you've had a minute to try, okay? So I'm going to erase all the lines I've made so that you can see to do a few yourself. So let's use a different color. I want you to find this one, and this one by yourself. So pause the video. If you need to, look at this where I've posted it online so you can see it better. And try and figure out what these 3 points are. All right, now that you've had some time, if you're not finished yet, pause the video and finish for me. Now that you've had a little bit of time, let's do these 3 together, okay? So this first one, we'll do the tricky one first. Get the tricky one out of the way. So this first one isn't on a longitude line, but it is on a latitude line. We know that it's on 30 degrees south, but we have to guess what it is down here. So I think that this is maybe 85 degrees west. Now, obviously, yours doesn't have to be exactly like mine. It doesn't have to be 85 degrees. But as long as it's somewhere between 80 and 90, I would have given you credit for this. So as long as you're between 80 and 90 in your guess, you're right. So look at this one. Did you get this one correct? All right, let's try the next one. Let's come over here. This one's a little bit easier. So our latitude line is 30 degrees north. And our longitude line is 90 degrees east. So did you get 30 degrees north, 90 degrees east? And then let's do our last one here. So it's on 30 degrees south. And it's on the same line as last time. So it's on 90 degrees east. So did you get 30 degrees south, 90 degrees east? Now I know that this is a little bit confusing. And I know some of you will think this is super easy because it will remind you of something you've done before in math. But some of you, this will be really hard for. And don't worry, it's okay. We are going to spend a lot of time practicing this. This was really hard for me to understand the first time too. So we're going to spend lots of time practicing this, and we're going to do several worksheets and activities where we practice, okay? So for today, I want you to send me a picture showing me that you took notes. You can email it to me or send it to me in a private comment like you've been doing. And tomorrow, we'll do a little bit of practice with this. So some practice by yourself. All right? I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.